Hey,
Not you, Murph, man. It's okay.
what's going on? Um, I I'm watching One Punch Man, and I've heard about this show for a long time, and I just haven't got around to watching it. So I just finished watching pretty much every sword art online that uh, Netflix has. Big fan. I enjoyed it a lot. So it's all about getting stuck in a game, having to fight for your life, but then realizing it's a game, and then valuing it, and then also like not letting it lead your life. Welcome. Anyways, so I finally got around to watching One Punch Man, and it's awesome. It's like really really great. And why I like it so much is it just it simplifies life. It simplifies uh, the journey. And if you've got like the eyes and ears, my my first burst out laugh moment, and I had like a few like I'm laughing, but I died when he was like this big like it's actually really fitting. All media, hey love, I love. You know what? I kind of was hoping it was you. So I was okay. Yeah, all media, all media, all voices, everything is is really a whisper from our higher selves. Okay, every person that speaks to you is really spirit speaking through them to you. But like, I want to stick to the media a little bit more because music and art are especially this is especially true for music. When you listen to music, you know, like you're like that song really speaks to you, speaks to me. I'll speak in that in the first person, and then you know, because it's going through what I'm going through, and then I'll sing. I love singing, and I love singing to songs that the words I just love to voice. And so I'd say for most of my life, I when I sing, it's like I'm singing from my heart, or I'm singing in relation to my relationship with someone or something. Yeah, you know, like if when I'm driving in the car, 100%, 100%. Like, and I look at the rear view mirror, I look at my side view mirrors. I'm always just looking around. I don't ever see people like rocking it out, singing at the top of their lungs in their car. That's me all the time, all the time, all the time, and that's actually how we share, good love vibrations. So when you see others kind of inspiring you by being themselves. But anyways, to my kind of realization or deeper understanding is I don't know if you guys or if you watch or anybody following watches Rick and Morty. That show's badass. Yeah, community is refreshing. Love is refreshing. Gosh. So there's this episode in Rick and Morty where the Rick, the scientist, the grandpa, the father figure, and I mean that in the like symbolic spiritual sense. He gets shrunk. He goes into a teenage. He becomes like a teenager, and anyways, um, he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm cool. I love this. This is like this. I want to stay like this forever, and whatever." And then he sings because that's one of his like little talents. He's singing for everyone, and his songs are like, "I'm stuck in my body. Please help me." You know, like. Uh, Kids, listen to the words that are coming out of my voice. I am stuck. I can't do anything. and it's all like just lyrics. It's like, yeah, that's really cool. It's like, no, guy's being literal. In that way, and that really struck me. In that way, if you listen, especially to, well, only to the songs that ring resonate with you and you listen to. It is your higher self. It's like it's your higher self, which is all of our higher selves. If we just go up high enough in the hierarchy of spirit, speaking to us, and it's telling us of our love. It's telling us of what we're missing from ourselves. It's and sometimes it's like, and sometimes it's what we're singing to our higher selves. But the mistake is in thinking that we're associating this love with other people. 100%. And messages from heaven. What is it? Revenant from heaven. Heaven's inside. Heaven's inside and through. And I'm telling you that from experience. Is it revenant from heaven? I don't know the first words. Revenant from heaven. Yeah. But to go back to One Punch Man, it's because it's the same. Like all of us, because we're I love that you said that, heaven on earth, because language is a spell. Language is power. Language is the word. And heaven on earth isn't heaven in earth. Heaven on earth is humanity on earth. Heaven is on earth and in us. A little small drop in the ocean of wisdom. And so in this episode of One Punch Man, there's this big lion of a monster, and he's super powerful. He's the king of the beasts. It's like, oh, that's really symbolic / esoteric. He's like super strong, and then he goes into like beast mode, and he's like busts out, and he's not part wolf, he's part lion, and and then he does the quintessential like anime like like heaven's fury crazy slash like of carnage. And he's like and he like just goes all out. And One Punch Man, who's I love, is because he's got this wonderful blend of like diffidence and passion, and he says something that's really pertinent. Like as you become powerful, the more powerful you become, it's like you lose touch with your emotions, because power detached from love isn't power, or it's like a flame that it's the flame of matter and not the flame of spirit. The flame of spirit is like a flame it doesn't consume it. It's eternal. Thank you. Perfect. Eternal, eternal, as opposed to infernal, which is an inference of the ether. So I died. I laughed out loud so hard. So after, yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I know that you would hear that. Yeah. So One Punch Man, after like dodging or whatever, he's like, the scene goes all super powered up, and he's like, one-armed consecutive punches. It's like, and it's not special. It's not super crazy. He's like, this is me using words to describe what I'm doing. And then obviously destroys him. I just like, I died. I laughed so hard. Cause that's, oh yeah. And like, I waited forever to watch it. And because timing, like things happen when you're ready for them. And that this was my time to watch it. It, it's, it's like love. It's simple. You know what? And I wouldn't be laughing as hard if you weren't here. So thank you. Love the movie, the story, the production of love uh, is complex, but it's complicated, but not the reality of it. You know. So the thing about One Punch Man, I'm only on episode 3 or 4 or something like that, is that all these people are like, they're mutants or cyborgs or, they've been created in a lab. And so I just watched the episode. It's not a spoiler. It's like, you get it pretty much from the beginning. It's like, is this dude just trained? And what did he train? So he's like in this episode where he's like, I'm going to tell you guys my secret. He's like, you're going to tell us our secret? Yeah. He's like, 100 push-ups every day. 100 sit-ups every day. 100 squats every day. 10-kilometer run every day. Don't use air conditioning. Don't use heaters, and don't miss a day. Do it every single day. It's one of the moments when he's actually really passionate, and then in true manga anime fashion, like his compatriots as well as his enemies are like, every day, because it could be twice a day. It could be, I know he's like 3 meals a day. The first meal could be a banana, but don't skip a day. And then what the key, the little drop of wisdom, the real secret that he drops after this is he's like, our power is we can change. Everything is refinement. You become better at who you and what you are. This is the universe. This is its nature. And so without getting too political or societal, not social, it has become advantageous to parties that we are conditioned to get better and better at being unconscious, to become better and better at being self-destructive, to even affix what we believe is healthy to our own destruction. So when we focus on our diets, when we focus on our exercise, when we focus on the things in our lives, even like our family, I want to try and touch on like the most happiest, healthiest things that we're told that we think we should be focusing on. We're still, that's the secret. That's why no one gives a fuck. In the higher ups, focus. They're getting the secrets of health. Oh, they're getting the secret. No, they don't give a shit because that's not what they're conditioning. They're getting conditioned that this is the world that you live in, right? They're getting conditioned that in this world, people have relationships with each other in this way, that you need to eat, that you need to exercise, right? Like that it's that the sky is blue and water is wet and you can't fly except if you're a superhero or you've got technology. You can really tell the like, I want to say, I was going to say sinister, but or insidious, and then also, but cynicism came up, and I think that's the winner. nature with which they've reconditioned our paradigm is when you look at when you see all the people being like they're like the computers the computers they're making them like they're it's like they're we're just computers. We're just programmed. We're all just machines. It's like, yo, if you pay attention and really like answer your own questions and don't give up, you'll realize is that machines mimic nature and the connotations and associations that we give machines as lifeless and not autonomous but automatic. It's like, thank you for that feedback so that I can frame. It's like alpha testing, okay? It's like it's like okay, I'm gonna use the confusing terminology. Okay, let's say base nature will is mechanical. All right. So we are machines, and this and that's just it's like that's just base nature. It's like base nature is mechanical. It's like machines making machines, and then labeling them as organic, and then people being like, oh, but they're not. We're just. What are you trying to make us into organisms? This the most right, like the most insidious thing that the only thing that the, deception is is fear, and so artificial intelligence, Wi-Fi, radio signals, light, sound, the what ideally everything that's made, you will be convinced that it is made by virtue of us, humanity, that we invented these concepts. Because then you won't realize that these things existed beforehand. In fact, you won't realize that we're actually just making caricatures of what we really are. Because do you know how our memory works? Do you know how memory on a hard drive works? Right? All it is a section of organic, essentially organic material. It depends on what you term organic, whatever. But it's basically sand, silica, which then gets magnetized section by section, and then demagnetized depending on what you kind of want to remember. Our brains work. I don't want to get too into it now. Our brains work pretty much the exact same way, right? And then if you want to remember something, you can kind of go and magnetize, demagnetize, but then that's stupid, right? Especially when you can connect to the internet. Like, how much do you give a shit about your hard drive space now versus 20 years ago? 20 years ago, is that accurate? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. That like it was the shit. Now it's like I don't even give a fuck. I just download, or I just get what I need, and then it's there. And actually, that is how memory works, right? That is how memory works, which is why, which explains Alzheimer's. It explains how you can take out any part of your brain and still not affect memory. Then you can, but you can't. But what if you take out the Ethernet adapter? Well, then you're fucked. Sure, then your memory's affected. Well, yeah, okay, so fuck with the hippocampus. Yeah, you're not gonna remember anything. But then this is where your memories are. We take out that slice, and then all of a sudden you're using other parts of your brain for memory. And so the summation of that point, yeah, this the summation of that point is uh, we are the source. In that we are a part of it, and it is our opportunity to create life in a sense in our machines, in our life, in the material. It's like we serve the hierarchy of existence by virtue of what we create, and we are served by creation, in that we are created in that same sense. And the way to fuck that up, really, is to switch the order. In that, and convince everybody we serve them when it's really the higher serves the lower, and the lower serves us, which is not the truth at all. We serve the lower. That is the nature of the hierarchy of spirit. Even hierarchy is like this word that's like, oh, bad word. We don't want hierarchy. We want everything on an equal level. It's like, are we all the same height? Here's my dog. I love him very much. I don't ask him what I'm gonna do today. I take care of his ass, and he takes care of me. You know, by being himself and by being lovely. Yeah, I love him so much. He's Murphy. He's just chilling. You know. So this is what else. This is what I kind of wanted to say also earlier before I started watching. It's a perfect time of day for it, I'd say, because it's now, and that's what they want to do. Love is. I was listening to whatever. Not even. I was listening earlier, but over the last year, I've listened to a lot of like different tarot readings and whatnot because, like I don't know, like I'm pretty obsessed with love, and unapologetically so. And and growth and spirituality and beingness is the study of love. And overarchingly, like love, it's like, okay, so this is what made me think this today. It's just that it's like, you know, because it's all about union, separation, all this bullshit. It's like this person doesn't want to get. They have to be ready. They're not ready. They have to get all these. They just really want to get all these things in a row. They've got addictions and things that they want to settle. They want to figure out. It's like, or like they're people are changing jobs and I really don't know what to do with their lives and they've got that third party situations. That's my favorite, fucking third party situations. What is a third party situation? What third part? What's like a? That's like a. It's like using a no-name controller for your PlayStation. It's a third-party controller. Right? Third-party situation. You mean right? Situationships. I am so using that. I'm so using that. Yes, it's a shit-ship. Third party situation. Oh, is that what we're calling when we like someone in a relationship now? Used to just be called liking someone that don't like me. I really like this person, but they don't like me. They like someone else. Now it's a third party situation because that allows us to make believe that our soulmates will one day be with us. because they're not happy because we're not happy. And but I really know that this person's my soulmate because I really love them. I've never felt this way before, and I've I've loved before, and I've never felt this way before. I mean, this person might not know my name, but I see them in my dreams, and I've never seen people in my dreams before. It's like going your whole life never having ice cream. Yeah, like like and then having ice cream and being like, oh my God, I love I love ice cream. And I don't I mean, I'll eat broccoli, but I can I can never I can never ever ever go without ice cream again. When in reality, it's like, bitch, that's not ice cream. That's vanilla ice cream. You ain't even have tried other flavors. You didn't even know there's other flavors existing. Yeah, that is true. Right? It's you know what? Like if someone is happy with someone else, let them be. The whole twin flame thing, which I'm not going to speak too much on because, like everything in life, it is what it is to you. And the only way that we all arrive on the same page is through conversation, discussion, and arriving at a refinement of value and definition. You know, which is why this is cool. You know, like the video thing, talking back and forth, but it's not as cool as being in the same room. It's not as cool as even a forum for this kind of video conferencing where it's like an equal platform. But YouTube's not really interested in that. That's why, you know, like, yeah, right. And it is what it is for now. But there aren't solutions to problems until there's a need for them, which is exactly why, at present, what we need is being formed. So to go, so to go back to connect that directly to the illusion or the loss of of love in chasing another is it's I guess if we were to like put it in some kind of order, you know, we go from thinking that there's no one to love, no one will love us, to I'm really in love and there's no one to love me, to thinking that person will one day be with me because it's destined. We're twin flames. But I've just got to wait. And that's pretty much where everyone's at now. And if I may speak generally. Right? Like waiting, I gotta actually look that up. I'm pretty sure waiting isn't a thing. Waiting is a word that was invented to control us because when you're waiting, you're not doing shit. Right? Yeah, like, first of all, my interpretation of love is you are destined to be with the person that you most resonate with while being yourself. It's like setting your course. It's like setting your course in life, and then looking to your right, looking to your left, and finding the same people there consistently, and not because they're hanging on or you're hanging on. Like one of you slips, you're gonna catch them. You know, one of them slips down a hill, and you're like, well, fuck, like we're still going in the same direction. So I'm gonna go down that hill. I'm gonna make sure you're okay, because I know when we get back up, we're gonna go back in the same direction. Like, but this uh, notion that there's someone that you're meant to be with that isn't in your life right now while you're not being who you most want to be. I'm not going to lay a judgment on it. I'm just saying that like that's more of like that is the next kind of paradigm or a glass ceiling that needs to get broken through. And to kind of go back to the kind of main like point or lesson that One Punch Man really kind of hit home for me in a way was is love isn't complicated. Like you don't none of us need to wait for shit. I got to get this in a row. I got to get that. I'm not ready. I could be fitter. I could be stronger. I could eat better. I could have a house. I could not be living with this person. I could not like no. Say hi. Like what is the thing that you could do right now that will bring you closer to anything? Because everything is love. You know, uh, for me right now, like I've been a teacher my whole life. And so and I like I've make I'm if I may say I'm something of a master in that as a skill set, which is why I don't teach too much on YouTube because you can't teach like this. You can't teach on television shows don't teach you. You teach yourself through media, which is why I can speak cryptically using video and be like and say without saying because if you listen, you're not listening to me being like you're right. You're like listening and you're making it make sense one way or another in your own mind, and then you're saying, "Oh, you're right to yourself," right? Or you're like, "Oh, I don't agree," and then you look and you listen to yourself and you're like, "This is why I don't agree," and this is how you teach yourself. Which is why I'm very careful not to speak too clearly on anything, so that nobody makes the mistake that they think that they've learned something. But I digress. What I'm really right back at you, right? Yeah. Uh, is I've always been really into, I want to say technology, but I don't even know what that word means anymore. I just like building shit and taking shit apart. It's a lot of fun here. That's like and so I've been just letting myself do that. And Josh, you're the best for saying it that way. Oh man, that really struck some chords. Yeah, yeah, and it's all are we all are creators and destroyers, and 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 society will reflect that more or less. Uh, the master builders that took me to a mental tangent that well you see my smile. Yeah, and that's with because of the misinterpretation of life and the misinterpretation of death and the reversing of our values when it is associated with those, we condemn killing, we condemn living, we condemn destroying anything, that everything needs to live forever because we can't apparently. And when really all of that are blanket judgments. I'm gonna speak to the killing because I know anybody that hears that is gonna be like, oh my god, you're a murderer. It's like murderer. What's a murderer? Murderer crows? Who the fuck made that word up? What is a murderer as opposed to a killer? Right? That sounds like bullshit. You know? Oh, you can kill somebody. Everything is killing, but you murder someone, it's when you're not supposed to do it. You know what? I have no desire to kill anybody, but I have no problem killing anybody that tries to kill me. And like I might just go right to like the strong show of force so that you don't fuck with me or anyone fucks with me again. Because I'm not like death is not the end. It's it you like and and putting an end to life isn't the gravest sin, right? It's uh, what you must what we can all do is just live our life, meaning what we say and what we who we are, and if we do things that we didn't if we do things that we meant to do with outcomes that we did not intend, that we live with a kind of repentance. Like love love is complicated because, and I'm saying love itself, I'm saying the word because we use it for so many different things, and and in, and unfortunately, like it is associated so much with this noun, like love is a thing, when really, in its essence, uh, love is loving. Bliss is really interesting for me. Thank you, because coming from very strongly from not just a philosophical or metaphysiological, but very much coming from the yoga world. Bliss body, bliss is this state of being. But what is bliss? Now, for me, when I hear the word bliss, I very much associate it with a kind of ecstasy, a kind of ecstatic state of being. I love harmony. Harmony, I could do well to associate harmony with bliss because what I can't remove from my definition of bliss is ignorance is bliss. I've always found fault or argument with the ignorance is bliss thing because I don't do well with ignorance. I can't ignore things very well. I can choose not to give my energy to things. It's not ignoring, right? Harmony is so much softer. Yeah, because when harmony pushes or pulls against anything, it doesn't ever do so on its own. It's never harmony cannot be brittle because harmony is in alignment with everything. So even when the tension is taut, it's softer for it's easier on your ears. It's not discordant. Even when it's distorted, and I only say that because I listen to music where there's distortion and it sounds awesome. You know, because distortion isn't an illusion. They're not being like, this is real distortion. It's like, not this is distortion. You're like, yeah. Love is like everything. You have to train every fucking day. And if you do, you get good at it. And you learn that it's not a thing that is exclusive in any kind of relationship. It evidences itself in every way that you are. I want to dance all the time. All the time. All the time. And the world needs more of that. Like, Singing, dancing, these are not things just for festivals and nightclubs. You don't have to be drunk or high on drugs to do it. Although, it's fun when you do it like that too. Singing is not just for the 150 pop icons of today. You know, it's like singing and dancing can be. I won't. I'm careful when I say should, but would be appropriately a part of all of our lives every single day. If I was One Punch Man, I'd be like 3 times a day. Don't miss it. How many fingers am I holding up? Exactly. Loved isn't. You want to get your life in order. You wanna be who you want to be, and then find love. That's and then you'll be ready for love. Well then, that that isn't love, right? Like, what have we done ourselves that makes us undeserving of love today? Who are we and what have we done that makes us undeserving until we do dot dot dot? If the person that we imagine our wishes to be in love with is not prepared to love us as we are today, then why is that good enough? And then how are we treating every other aspect of our life if we are reserving love for something else? My whole life pretty consistently, but especially recently, right? If you weren't here, I might have. But I'm not done. I'm enjoying spending time with you. When I pay for something at the cashier, it's like when I was saying with singing in the car. I love putting a smile on people's faces because it takes zero effort. It takes zero effort. It's looking at them in the eye and treating them like a human being. I'll go to the grocery store. That's it, and freedom isn't a thing that you get from anyone else except yourself first. Can you be more free? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's one of my goals and my projects in life is to help rearrange the structures of this world so that we could be more free. That's the only thing that's wrong with the world is life should be hard. Life should be challenging. Like the opposite of love isn't sadness. The opposite of love isn't hate. I can love and hate about the same thing at the same time, right? In fact, I can be really angry because of love. Not even necessarily with the thing or person that I love, but I'm going to feel the full spectrum of emotions that I have potentially within me because of love. So the point isn't to do away with all of the full spectrum of what we have as beings in creation. It doesn't have to be this hard. It's unreasonably hard. It's where it doesn't make sense. And when shit don't make sense, we destroy it. And that's oh, but destroying's a bad thing. Destroying is just de-storying. And we live, we are separated by our fictions. I love driving. And I'm sure this is the first time I'm telling this story, but I'm sure it'll come back up in different examples or talks that I ever give. I It's my favorite. It's my favorite. And I learned to drive manual this last year. Sorry, I guess last year. I bought a manual car. I didn't know how to drive manual. I did in theory, but and I'd like learned for like 5 seconds when friends like taught me or whatever. But like you don't. That's driving for 5 seconds is not really learning a thing. So, anyways, I bought a manual car. Didn't know how to drive it. Told them to go park it near the end of the parking lot so that I could kind of get out. I got in. I had to work in 2 hours, so I knew I had to be somewhere. And I taught myself to drive. Did I stall in the middle of an intersection? Yeah. Was it fucking January and the weather was shite? Yeah. But I wasn't afraid. And no matter who honks or whatever issue someone may have, I know in my heart what was going on. And I want to live in a world where me being me is okay. Right? Fuck yeah. Yeah. Right? So, and I don't want to live in a world where I'm not ever really angry or I've got nothing to be sad about. But I don't want it to be unreasonable. I don't want to be made or encouraged to feel powerless or helpless because I know I'm not those things. And I want to live in a world where the alternative isn't my own death or my own doom or my own incarceration because those are all options. And push comes to shove, like all you have to do is look back and not even that far at most of our history. And that's what most good people choose or have chosen. Exactly. Just to be allowed to feel and express your feeling in your own space and to have and so to receive the appropriate feedback from the world, right? I cannot stand yippy dogs. And pardon me if I mean, dogs chilling, so it doesn't sound like they're too yippy. And what I really mean is people that don't know how to take care of their dogs. I just, there would be, there would be no yippy, annoying ass dogs, for instance, if uh, if people were entitled, fuck, entitled has so much fucking connotations, but whatever, I'm sticking to it. Like I want like the right to give appropriate feedback without like fear of recourse of like death slash incarceration, right? Like if your dog comes yipping up at me and trying to jump me, uh, I want to push him away. I'm gonna use my hand and I'm gonna grab him by his haunches and I'm gonna dominate it because I'm the human and it doesn't need to control me. I got its back. As long as it knows its place, I'll know it knows my place. But if I touch your dog, then you cry and I can't talk to you because if I talk to you, then you're gonna flip out and then who's gonna call the cops? We don't need to be policed. But who's going to protect us? You think it's an accident that none of us are taught how to defend ourselves at all in our lives? How long in history, if we look back, how many of those people in humanity didn't know how to protect themselves, right? How many of those people needed uh, needed to go to some higher authority that wasn't each other, their community, or and God? You're not gonna steal my shit if you know if I'm gonna kick your ass if you do it. Like you're I and I'm not gonna steal your shit if I know you're gonna kick my ass. I'm gonna think twice before I speak, and uh, and shit, I might say things with salience more. Maybe I won't try and take. Maybe I'll try and ask. Maybe then I won't be nameless uh, in the face of my judges. I won't be a number that judged by a jury of your peers. I don't know any of them. They don't know me. They know who you've made them think I am. And I'm not even talking about the course. Like they see my hair, they see my skin color, what city we're living in. They're my peers. No, they're who Netflix told them I am. It's all is that who needs that? We don't need that. If it's a problem, we can settle it amongst ourselves. And when the consequences of our actions are just appropriate feedback, right? Then nobody's going on a mass murdering spree because every single person they try and kill is going to kill them. And people are going to look at me like, yeah, that makes sense. You're going to send the guy to jail for killing that guy that just killed that guy? I don't know. See, even I'm speaking too general, but if I was there, I'd probably have a pretty appropriate opinion about it. And I'm very much on purpose speaking of this, like, of these really strong, uh, or like loaded topics, right? One of the biggest myths in the world is that men are stronger than women. You know why men are stronger than women? It's because from day one till day dead, men are encouraged to be physically strong, and women are are discouraged because being physically strong is not attractive. First of all, I disagree. Always have. But I digress. I disagree with a lot of shit. But it's just simply not true. Genetically, all of it, 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 all of it. I studied this shit. Men and women are very equal, very, very equal when it comes to physical strength. But you'd never know it. You'd never know it because we're not allowed to be ourselves. So when men and women are physically allowed to be themselves, they can defend themselves. Like you think, and this is like even just taking all the sexual repression and all the like social restrictions, bullshit around relationships and marriage and not marriage and family and all that bullshit. Just putting that aside, a man's going to think twice before trying to physically overpower uh, another woman, just the same as a man. Like a person is going to think twice before trying to physically overpower anyone. But instead, our power is taken away. It's associated with other things. We're told things are hard. We're told things are impossible, and then we're encouraged to give our power to authorities who will then write our fate. Because what is an authority but an author? And I'm the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. And we all want the same thing. Love isn't complicated. Complicated is only a puzzle. Uh, is only a puzzle that is missing pieces because those pieces have been withheld. Some of us more than others. Because I am an alchemist. And I reckon so are you. But not everyone is. In the soul journey, maybe everyone will be. A good rule of thumb that I use for everything, but especially recently in my growing in wisdom, is when something is told, when I'm told something is wrong or shouldn't be done, I think instead, how could it be right? What and who would gain from my believing that? Because from what I've learned, we are all living one great, big, complicated lie. And it's unraveling. Because all lies do. Our history isn't what we've been told. Who we are isn't what we've been told. What we're capable of, even where we think we are coming into the truth of our history, is a lie. I'll just drop a little seed. If you consider that everything that's supposed to have happened 1,000, 2,000 years ago has actually happened a lot sooner than that, well, how could that be possible? Interesting thing about timelines, because that's very top of mind awareness in our community. It's like, how can multiple timelines exist? Well, let's consider it. What is a timeline? And one way of looking at it is if you tell a nation on one side of a continent one story, and then you tell another nation on the other side of the continent a slightly different version of that story, you now have two timelines. You want to know the Mandela effect? The Mandela effect is telling a nation that Mandela's dead when he's not. And when you control information, and when you control who goes where, and even where people think they are when they're not there, right? Like if I jump on a plane and be like, I'm going to China, and they drop me off in Taiwan, and all the signs say China, I think I'm in China. And as crazy as that sounds, how hard would that be 100 years ago? Think of how challenging, actually, it would be to know without a shadow of doubt what actually happened in World War II. Because I wasn't there. But if I go back to that time, if I wasn't, let's go with I'm not in the war.
So everything I know about the war, I'm in Canada. So if I'm in Canada and everything I know about the war is what I'm told via the news media, and that's it. Right at first, like during the war, nobody's coming back like in a way that like what are the chances that like someone I know is coming back to then tell me? And then let's go there. Say I went. What do I know without a shadow of doubt about why we're at war? I'm told through the chain of command what I'm supposed to do, what is being done, right? I'm told and the chain of command pretty much includes all the information that I'm receiving. I'm making war with a people that do not speak my language, and I'm killing them from as far as possible so that there's the chances of me and them looking eye to eye or even discussing what we're fucking killing each other about is close to impossible. So, who and what are we fighting and what are we fighting about that I know from my experience? Not a lot. Not a lot. It would be very, very easy to convince an entire world a story about something that is maybe more complex, is maybe simpler. Because everything history is written by its victors and all that bullshit. But what if you don't even have to win? What if deception is your war? One of my guiding lights, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, is I have found it very hard to believe, especially because I know genetically, or not know, because I don't know personally, but it's my intuition as well as what I've read and researched. We are not so different biologically from the people, the humans of 100 years ago, 200 years, 300 years ago. They say we're very different from the ones like 3,000 years ago, but I question everything now. But I have a very hard time with all that we base our existence on. That have like key cornerstone question marks. Okay? Look at the brain. The occipital lobe is broken into four parts. One of the parts, one of the parts we associate with the seeing. The three fucking other lobes or other parts, we don't really know what they do. And you mean we don't really know what they do? If that was the only thing that we didn't really know what they did, then fine, but it's really not. Like, then there's the what is it called? Essentially, there's this membrane No, not even membrane. It's like a nerve sheath that goes from our like anterior the anterior aspects of our temporal or the parietal lobes, and like connects our prefrontal cortex to, like, it goes underneath and through all the way to our occipital lobe, and it doesn't finish really forming until our 30s. What's it do? We don't know. We don't know. So even something like myelin, I love that you said that, because myelination is practice. So if you think of myelination as essentially the fatty layer of tissue that accelerates and accentuates your nervous specialization, then this sheath, it like, if think of what if the some of a part of our brain was formed not as a myelin sheath, but as myelination, almost in and of itself, so that it's not being used to wrap around, but to form transportation pathways in and of itself to other layers of myelination. Right? It's because part of my studies is figuring out the logistics or the physical nature with which we can evolve. And the eyes are the most, like Tesla said, like the most complex structure in the universe, even more so than our brains. So that's really good. Let me speak to that for a little second, because you're sharing with me your awareness. So muscles grow through resistance. Now let's look at it more deeply. Muscles grow through the shearing of our muscle fibers, the micro tears, and the rebuilding of those structures, and that we are, and so that we're encouraged to, to create these muscle shearing, muscle tears through exercise, through our everyday. But ultimately, all of this is occurring on like an electrical level. So, in theory, and maybe even experience, electrical stimulation in and of itself, creating tension contraction. It's like when Spider-Man goes to sleep that night, when he gets bitten, he's all like, and he wakes up and he's like all fucking ripped. It's like, whoa, how that fucking happened? That's how. Because we are labeling the experience of growth one way, when really it's like saying trees trees grow by taking in carbon dioxide from the air and and putting out oxygen. It's like, yeah, sure, that's true. But actually, they're getting everything they need from the roots. So, yes, I'm going to build muscle the more I do this. But it's really just happening because there's so much electricity in my body and there's so and movement and and my energetic being right, I'm embodying strength. I'm embodying the intention of potentiation and and its embodiment. And so I don't need to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10 kilometers a day to become One Punch Man. When every step that I take is has that intention, and not intention, but like embodiment. And so our body, because none of us live in isolation, it attracts the energy of the cosmos that wants to be that too. And so it finds you to live through you. Allowing through the narrow gate, allowing and restricting. Not restricting by not allowed, but by channeling. Knowing is knowledge without wisdom is magic. Knowledge with wisdom is power. And magic is powerful, only a shadow of wisdom. Because this is actually a pretty common, you don't need to know that one of the kind of like, I don't know, cliche sayings is like, well, it's useful. It's just like, you don't need to know how the electricity goes from your wall switch to the light bulb to get the light bulb to work. You just know you to flip the switch. You've got a really great perspective. It's not that you need to know how everything works. You just need to know what you want and how that works. Because when you know how it works, then you can choose it consciously. Like, I know how my body works. I know more than most people in the world. And I can say that pretty unapologetically because most people in the world, when they think they know something, they stop learning about it. So even the world experts who at one point knew a fuck ton, they stopped. They stopped learning about it in all the different realms. Our bodies are multidisciplinary. And you learn about one thing and it'll teach you about so much more. So I really know how my body creates energy. I really know what it's doing with the food that I put into it. I really know what oxygen and carbon dioxide and nitrogen are trying or attempting to do with the body. I really know the purpose of blood and how it's not really living that purpose because the world's energetically out of whack, but it soon will be. Like, I know how I know why weight is bullshit because it's not an actual reflection of anything except physics and its brokenness. Like I won't get too much into it, but if you think about like weight is basically your yeah, and that's everything, and that's everything. That's everything. All relationships, because everything's relationship. Everything's get better. Everything gets better if you don't stop. And if you don't believe that you'll ever stop, then you never will. And like, I don't know how to like, I don't. I was gonna so I'll finish that. I don't know how to prove that death isn't a thing. Is what I would say would have stopped myself from saying, because it's not my responsibility to teach that. It's no one's responsibility to really find that out from anyone but themselves. And when that stops being an end, I really like how you said that. I'm gonna start a channel, a separate channel, to discuss certain things, and maybe like open it up as an opportunity to speak with other people. But it is very much to do with language and words. Speaking. Speaking is not a thing that anybody does exclusively with the words that come out of their mouth and the sound that they make. When we teach, when we communicate, all communicating, all communication is teaching. And so trying to find how to do this in this world is arriving, but teaching peace, because that's been a really big goal of mine. So it's like it's part and parcel with the building of the structures. Is I can't abide needless suffering. Appropriate suffering, for me, is a suffering that makes sense, and not from a judgment place. It's just like more of like a cause and effect type thing. But like, I despise this needless suffering, and so I try and kill it. And when you communicate from yourself, it never matters, particularly the words that you choose, as much as you mean them. So yes, teaching peace of mind comes from a place of being at peace in one's mind, not necessarily with the world. Because I have issue with a bunch of my environment. I feel isolated against my will. But that peace, there is a layer that that where my where that friction does not get to me. Because peace of mind is peace with oneself and peace with the mind of all. And I throw that last part in there because, in my experience, there's no peace of mind that comes without a connection to all is mind and the mind of Great Spirit. Yeah. And so I'm going to go walk Murph. But in summation, you're, yes, like that. When one of my favorite books of all time is Altered Carbon by Richard Morgan. And Netflix came out with a series for it about, and like I am such an easy watcher. Like I enjoy everything, like really. And so I had a good time with it. And one of the lines that really stood out for me be the eye and know the wall and position yourself. Because the reflection of where you position yourself is also what gets negated. Positive and negative are the same they only differ by degree. And positive isn't good, negative isn't bad. Positive is position, negative is negation. All that is, and nothing rests.